Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. In particular, welcome to PCP Movie Night. We are still in the midst of Cruise Choice. We got 2 more weeks of Cruise Choice, including tonight. And when it comes to Cruise Choice here, and by the way, PCP Movie Night's the show where we pick a movie a week. It's like a movie of the week club, and we all gather and we watch it, and then we get together and we talk about it. All right. So we're in Cruise Choice, and usually it goes one of 2 ways. It's usually a banger ass movie that everybody loves and adores, or it's a complete piece of shit. So like, where does this one lie? Tonight we're talking about the biggest breakout animated film of 1994. No, not The Lion King. We're talking about The Pagemaster, starring Macaulay Culkin, Patrick Stewart, Whoopi Goldberg, Frank Welker, who I completely forgot was in this movie. Amazingly talented voice actor. But yeah, we're talking about 1994's The Pagemaster, and this was Manny's pick. So we're going to bring him in first. Manny, what is up, my man?
Dude, when I was approached with Cruise Choice and I knew the amount of weight and gravity that was involved in that, I was like, it has to be The Pagemaster.
Yeah, I love how last year you did Dr. Sleep, and I don't think I was like, hey, it's all right. We had a nice conversation, but I bet you're like, I got to outdo myself this year with The Pagemaster. Speaking of The Pagemaster, this dude is buried in pages right now, and I'm talking about pages of erotic fiction. It's Brooks. What is up, my man?
What's up?
Excited to talk about? Was this your first time watching this one, or have you seen this one back in the day?
Yeah, I saw this one back in the day, and I remember liking it all right. And kind of feel the same, to be honest.
All right, well, let's not bury the lead. Let's not get too much into it. Also joining us tonight, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and the only Jill Laney. What is up, my man?
Hey, Station. Manny, I love you, dog. I do, but dog. Dog. That's all I gotta say. I mean, yeah, I remember this when I watched this when I was a children at a birthday party. I think it was like Pagemaster, and then we had Pizza Hut because it was a tie-in. But,
so this movie came out in '94.
Yeah.
And, excuse me.
I was in middle. I was like in high school, like a freshman in high school.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. I was 13, right? I was a little too cool for this movie, I think, when it first came out. But I remember my siblings watching it. And I remember just being like, this is dumb as shit. And I don't think too much has changed for me, brother. So let me tell you something. There's some context, okay? So I just got back from Heroes Con, had a great weekend. I was staying for the entire weekend in a high-rise apartment building with the most beautiful people I'd ever seen are the residents of this fucking place. Like, everybody there was, like, so fucking hot in this apartment complex. I could not believe it. Like, this is the life I want, is to live there. Rooftop bar, saltwater pool, hot tub. Like, it was awesome. It was a great, great place to be. And I get home from a long weekend of a lot of partying, a lot of walking, a lot of eating, a lot of drinking. And I get home, I'm like, time to relax and watch The Pagemaster. Well, my favorite thing about this movie is that it's only an hour and 15 minutes long. Like, it is so short, mercifully short, right? Manny, I love you. This movie sucks, man. Like, what the fuck, dude? This movie, like, I get it, dude. I was up here, I was boosting up Surf Ninja. I get what you're trying to do. I get it. You're like Surf Ninjas, Van Damme Cyborg. Oh, man, do we have the next PCP hit? I hope not, because we're going to get demonetized because I didn't have time today to cut the fucking trailer up. And it was only a minute-long trailer. So I was like, I'll just put the whole trailer up the intro, which means we're going to get demonetized. So if this becomes the next Van Damme Cyborg, fuck. However, what the fuck? This movie is like, this should have been, for those not familiar, it's bookended by live action sequences directed by Joe Johnston, of all people, right? And it's got some really solid animation. Like, this movie's not complete shit, okay? This movie has some really great animation sequences, like, for real. Like, really good stuff, some great voice talent. Leonard Nimoy's in this freaking movie. You know what I'm saying? As Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's great. This should have been, like, a series on PBS or some shit, man. Like, what the fuck is this, right? And if you're not familiar, Macaulay Culkin's this super neurotic kid. He's always worried about statistics, and he doesn't like take any kind of risk in his life because he's worried about this and that. And yeah, okay, that's cool. And he goes to the library and caught in the middle of a storm when he's trying to go get nails or some shit like that, right? And he winds up in the library with a super creepy Christopher fucking Lloyd, who then like sends him on this like journey through mystical dreamland where he meets these 3 books, goes across all the shit, comes out of it on the other side as it's the hero's journey through books. It is about the importance of reading. And one thing that we love here at PCP is reading. I think reading is very important. But goddamn, this movie came out the same year as Lion King. Yeah, I bet these people put together this movie and they were like, man, we got something baller. And then they watched Lion King. They're like, we're fucked. We are completely fucked in this movie right now. Like, we don't know what the hell we were doing. 20th Century Fox took a long time to kind of get on board with like animated films. They've been trying to do it forever. I think they really hit a peak with like Titan AE, but that movie didn't really get received too well. But all in all, and Manny, I realize this is your pick, but I also think it's a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek pick. I don't think like this is one of your favorite movies of all time. But I will say this. The movie's got some brilliant animation. It's got a terrible fucking script. It's got some really great voice acting in it. It's got some terrible direction. It is just, there's a reason why this movie's only an hour and 15. And it's because they were like, let's get in and get out. And that's the best part to me about this movie, man. I don't know. I'm almost at a loss for words, man. I don't know if I've ever had as much distaste for a Crew's Choice pick as I have tonight, Manny. So you have reached another level for us here at Crew's Choice. So I'm going to toss it over to you, Manny. This was your pick. What do you think about this film overall?
Well, I think that when we talk about the most important movies of all time, things like Surf Ninjas, things like Cyborg, I think that what was the driving force was truly doing a Google search and a YouTube search and saying that nobody's covering this movie, so it's definitely going to get 50 to 60,000 views. I just figured that was a good place to go with it. But
you're right about that.
Pagemaster is one of those films that you can appreciate as a kid because it's just a movie to pop on, right? It's a VHS. Like, I don't know who I got my copy from. Probably an uncle or an aunt who knew very little about me, but decided that this particular VHS was one that I needed. And it doesn't outstay its welcome. It's an hour long. It does feel like Robbie said, it should have been a TV show because it does feel like a pilot is what this feels like. It feels like we're introducing some quick characters. It's only an hour long. So it's like 2 episodes of a show just to set something up. It has that feel. But like you said, the animation is phenomenal. I mean, we've got a lot of the animators from Don Bluth. You kind of get that feeling of a Don Bluth production. It should have really hit, like you said, with the direction, should have hit it out of the park. I mean, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Jumanji. I mean, this dude knows how to direct a family film. This one just may not have been what he was going for. But maybe that's what makes it so great. Maybe that's what makes it so important. Maybe in a world where Disney is releasing films like The Lion King, and the idea of taking Macbeth and making it something for the youngins, this is just there to help reinforce it.
Lion King is based on Hamlet.
Hamlet, that's what I meant. If I was smarter, I would have known that.
You would have known that if you were in there for Throne of Blood. Right?
Yeah, if I'd have read a book. But what this is doing, this is the supporting player. This is the guy setting up the layup. This is the person passing the ball down the court so the superstars can shine. That's what this movie is.
All right, nicely put. All right, Brooks, you watched this movie back in the day. Listen here, brother Joe. We can be as critical as we want, man. We can also relax and enjoy whatever we want, bro. All right. So, love you, brother Joe. But come on, man. We're just having fun here tonight. Brooks, what did you think about Pagemaster on the rewatch, buddy?
Well, there's a lot of things I like about this movie, and there's a lot of things I don't like about this movie. it kind of balances out in a lot of ways. But like I really like the animation style in this movie. Like it does, like you're saying, it has that kind of Don Bluth look to it almost, and like it has a lot of really good scenes. Like I love the dragon, like when the ceiling is like starts dripping down and the weird rainbow shit is flooding the library. Like this movie has a lot, but it's so basic. And like one thing that I really didn't like is the fucking books. I hate these fucking anthro books, man. Like, I think it would have worked better if instead of having them being like anthro books, they would have been like actual characters from books. So like adventure could have been like a pirate instead of a pirate book. Fantasy could have been like a fairy or whatever, and horror could have been like a Quasimodo. But I mean, it is a kids' movie, and part of the message is, the books want to be read. They want to be like their whole thing is they want to escape from the library. They want him to like check them out. But like one thing that really like a funny thing that I thought, like, when he walks into when he falls down and he starts dreaming, like I was thinking like, and that's when I realized that the librarian had coded my library card with LSD.
No shit. Fucking colors melting and shit. It's like CG that looks better than fucking She-Hulk and apparently the Flash. That's all I'm gonna say about that, right? So, all right. So, things you like about it, things you don't like about it. Jelani, I'm very curious to hear what your critical eye picked up on the Pagemaster here in 2023.
Man,
almost
dog.
30 years later, by the way. This movie's almost 30 years old.
Dog. Really. I mean, I understand you man, dog. Okay. I love this movie. No, that's a lie. This is trash. What the hell you make me watch? Why the hell did you make me watch it? Why the hell that flat ass animation? You're like, oh, the animation is great. It would be great if it was a Don Bluth film and it like had a story worth a damn. That was some flat ass matte painting looking shit from Macaulay Culkin. Sure, he looked cute and all, but it was bullshit. Fuck this movie. Patrick Stewart was great, but I was like, why the hell is he a pirate? Why the hell? They got him Arin and Ergen. And then Whoopi Goldberg was terrible because it's Whoopi Goldberg. And oh my God, I love Frank Welker though. Frank Welker's Megatron, so he can do no wrong. But it's just so many it's dumb. This story is dumb. The kid is neurotic, goes to the library. Christopher Lloyd creeps on him, laces him with LSD. He goes, freaks out. He sees all this shit, and now he's brave after all of this. It's got Ed Begley Jr. in it randomly, and he should have died falling out of that tree. There's so many things.
The movie starts off with his dad getting killed because of his carelessness.
Why do you even cast Ed Begley Jr. if you're not going to actually have him be comedic? You know what I'm saying?
And then I'd have been mad too because he gave that boy $5 to get some nails. He ain't come back with no nails. He's sleeping in the thing with some books. I'd have beat his ass. Well, where my $5? Where my nails?
He didn't need the nails. He didn't even give a shit where the kid was going because he has a whole fucking bag of nails. Like he does not need the nails. He just he fucking hates this kid. I love that. I love how I'm not going to say that as a parent I can relate. But as a parent, I can fucking relate. There are certain days you just want to send the kid to the hardware store.
Kids. Among other
I know you're fucking terrified of everything, and you won't even climb up this ladder in your backyard. But will you drive across fucking town and get some nails for me during a fucking storm?
Can you go get some nails?
You didn't see the weather report or nothing.
Nothing.
They didn't have weather reports back then, dude.
Oh, they didn't have weather reports back in 1994. Yeah. Okay, Brooks. Okay, sure. We may not have had an app on our phone.
Back then, we didn't trust the weatherman. That ain't no shit.
Man, but yeah, the music, there's no music in this. It's like one song. It's like if you believe the imagination.
Like so weird. It's like they put that in there just because it's an animated movie, so it's got to have a musical number.
It's got to have one song, at least one musical number.
I remember this movie. I remember this movie being so forgettable when I was in high school, of course. And it was I don't know if it was my cousin's birthday. I know it was somebody's birthday, and they were like, "We gotta go see Pagemaster," and I was like, "I don't really care." It was like a Pizza Hut tie-in, so we got like Pizza Hut afterwards, and they gave us like, I don't know if it was toys or something, but there was a book it program during that time too.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Yeah, you gotta read books."
Back when adults wanted kids to read books.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit now.
Yeah.
But
Now
oh
they're
my
just like,
god.
ban the book.
Yeah, I forgot this movie years ago. It was like in the back of my head for years. And now, Manny, thank you. You've brought it back into my mind, and I remember why I forgot it. I remember why I forgot it. I love you, dog, but I gotta be honest. What the hell, dog? Anyway.
All right. Well, the movie didn't really do too well, right? It cost
like $12
it cost 34 million to make. It made 13.7 at the box office. It was co-produced by Ted Turner. Hanna-Barbera was involved. Like there's some talent in this movie, animation-wise, and like I don't get what you're saying about the animation, Jelani. I actually really like the animation. I think
it could have been more colorful. It could have been brighter.
But hold on a second.
It was very gray on top of the color. It was like color.
See, I don't know, man. Maybe you need to change the settings on your TV or something, bro. Because maybe you got that motion fucking shit on. But like the sequence of the transformation from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde, fucking love that shit. When Captain Ahab sees Moby Dick and he first shows up and everything goes all fucking psychedelic. And Brooks, you're right on the money. This kid's been laced with some fucking LSD or some shit was what's going on.
Laced.
But it's got a great cast.
It does.
So, Manny, out of all the performances in this film, what's one you want to highlight?
Oh, you know what? Let's go with the angry dad. I like that. I like the way that he's teetering on seething anger and exacerbation the entire time. It's hard. Macaulay Culkin is fucking charismatic as hell. And the fact that his father is able to go to that place and still be convincing. At no point do I think like he wants his kid dead, but I also don't always think that he doesn't want his kid dead. And I think that that's a tightrope walk. So Ed Bagley Jr. As Alan Tyler, according to Wikipedia.
All right. That's an interesting pick out of all the characters in this film.
I wanted to save the good ones for you guys.
I appreciate it. It almost feels, Manny, like you're not as into this movie as picking it for Crew's Choice would lead us to believe.
I'm into it. I've watched it like 3 times since we purchased it for this review, and I gotta say that my kids fucking love this movie.
Okay.
My daughter will not watch half of the shit that I ask her to watch. And my son, if it doesn't say Go Go Power Rangers in the theme song, won't watch shit. But they both will sit down and watch this movie.
Well, that's good. That gives you an hour and 15 minutes apiece.
It's hour and 7 because we don't fuck with credits in this house.
There's no post-credit scenes in this one.
Even this one, they were like, "Man, we cannot stretch this shit out to 70." Like, I don't know, man. We're gonna have to cut it at 69. You know what I'm saying? All right, Brooks, what's the performance you want to highlight in this film?
Like my favorite part was the Jekyll and Hyde stuff. Like Leonard Nimoy's Jekyll. When I saw it, I'm like, man, these guys should have just made a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde movie, dude.
It would have worked better.
Done like this animation style and done Jekyll and Hyde, it would have been so awesome. Like when he turns into Mr. Hyde, like I love that, man. It's like I wish there was more of it. And it kind of feels like, the movie kind of blows its load a little early because that scene is so early on in the movie. But it is really cool. Like I love how he does, he has both characters as well, the great Leonard Nimoy. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in fucking peace. All right, Jelani, what about you? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I love Patrick Stewart Adventure, the book. He was very charismatic. He played his role well, and when I found out it was Patrick Stewart, I was like, yeah, he is nailing it. I just liked his goofy demeanor. I liked how he like showed some emotion when he thought horror was dead. He was just like, I'll take you and hold you in my arms, and, and all that part. It was very, very touching for that part. He's very brave. He's not like a super coward in this, but he's adventure, and he goes with the flow. And even in the Treasure Island bit, he's still trying to find ways to like help Macaulay Culkin out, and it's I liked his character, and he got the kiss fantasy, which was still Whoopi Goldberg, which I still can't stand. But anyway,
it's weird how at the end, like all of a sudden they're like romantically involved.
Yeah. Well, he just
like,
kissed
what?
her. He just kissed her because he was like, I don't. Yeah, it comes out of nowhere.
There's no other female books around.
Yeah, I guess you'll do. It was just so weird. It does come out of left field, but of the books, even though I wasn't a fan of the books either, but he was just my favorite character. Macaulay Culkin does all right, but I really liked Adventure.
Word. My favorite performance is going to be Frank Welker as Horror. He's definitely like this like Igor Hunchback kind of character. He does the voice very well. Of course, I wanted to hear a little bit more of that Megatron, Dr. Evil, not Dr. Evil. What the fuck is the Inspector Gadget bad guy? What's his
Dr.
name?
Claw.
Dr. Claw.
I want to hear more of that like horror kind of shit from him, but he does a really great job of doing that kind of like Peter Lorre, kind of like master, and all that stuff. So I think it's fine. I think that's cool, and actually
overshadowing Jim Cummings' performance later on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Jim Cummings. He did
Long John Silver.
Long John Silver. And then the dude who was the original Sweeney Todd on stage, I can't remember his name right now. It's Harry something. He did Moby, or not Moby Dick. He did Captain Ahab, which was actually a really, really cool performance. I think the voice talent is one of the
They're great.
Yeah, I think they're some of the strongest parts of this movie, but if you got voice talent there and Frank Welker's there, like, I'm sorry, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to say Frank Welker. You know what I'm saying? Like, such a cool voice and a really cool character, and obviously he's horror, so like he's my favorite because of that, right? All right, style and structure of this film. I think the style's cool. I actually like the concept, the idea of the framing sequence being live action, then going into animation. I think it works. Some of the CG's crude nowadays, but for its time, it was actually pretty dope. We're only a year away from Jurassic Park at this point, right? And we're still like 5 years away from The Matrix. We're still 3 years away from Spawn. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think some of the animation is really solid in this movie. So I kind of like the style of that, the way it looks visually. I think that's probably another one of the best parts of this film. Structurally, I really do appreciate that it's only like an hour and 7 minutes or whatever the hell it is, right? But man, why does this feel long? Why does it feel longer than Throne of Blood to me, man? I'm watching this movie and I'm just like, now, obviously, I just got back from a long weekend, a long trip, sat down, grabbed a beer, watched the Pagemaster, and it was just like, I stopped it like 8 fucking times. Now, it could just be where I was, like who wants to come home from a long weekend and then like watch the Pagemaster? Well, unfortunately, I just didn't get the chance to fit it in. But structurally, even though it is short, it is not a fast-paced movie at all. And it kind of like feels like it treads water like so often. Just kind of does the same thing for a bit, barely makes any kind of progression. And to me, it kind of stalls the movie out, even with the short running time. It's got the running time of Dracula and Frankenstein from the fucking 30s. And those movies breeze by for me. And this one was just kind of excruciating, to be honest with you. But that was just my experience. Manny, what do you think about the style and structure of this film? And I'm sorry we're shitting on your pick.
This film breezes by in boats for fucking big chunks of it. But okay, I think the problem structurally that this film has is that, one, it's trying really hard not to use anything that fucking Disney's using, right? So they're staying away from those. They're also trying to stay public domain, condense down these giant fucking books like Moby Dick down to little tiny parts, but it stumbles into every story. There's no, he's trying to get to the exit. That's the plot. But it's so threadbare. You forget that the exit is there. There needs to be more of a cohesive journey. It feels like a fucking modern Star Wars movie where they're just going from fucking set piece to set piece to set piece. They're not really, there's no structurally, there's no real roadmap.
Skywalker.
You know, so that is an issue. Again, this would have been great as a television series, absolutely, where you could really go into the Hounds of the Baskervilles rather than just have dogs jump out of a book. You could have really got into the meat and potatoes of Captain Ahab and Moby Dick. But as far as style goes, bookending it, like you said, with the live action and then in the middle with the animation sequence, I think that's really clever. I think it highlights all your main actors and it gives you a Wizard of Oz feel, right? If the books didn't drop from the ceiling at the very end, you could argue that this is all in his head, right? So it's I thought that was pretty good. I think that it's trying to squeeze in way too much with adventure, fantasy, and horror. Maybe if it was going to be a trilogy of films, just going with adventure for this first film, or just fantasy, or just horror.
I won't get no more films, but I'm.
But you know, those are all definite things that could have helped it along. But I do think it's trying to do too much. The animation, I don't know. Jab, I love you too, bro, but the fucking animation in this is so good for hand-drawn traditional animation. Fucking
I've seen Lion King and Land Before Time, and I love that.
The animators on this film were the animators on Land Before Time and American Tail. So that's I mean,
no cats in America.
It's some nice like rotoscope looking stuff going on in this one.
I mean, it's okay. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, it feels like there's something like a filter or something that was over, like in the dark spots. It felt gray, like his face or Macaulay Culkin's face. Certain aspects of it in the library at the very beginning, even before the Hound of the Baskervilles, it was very gray to me, and it wasn't. It probably wasn't the copy that Drew got, but it just didn't look right to me in certain spots. Now, when the colors like all hit Macaulay Culkin in that one spot, it was bright and colorful and lovely, and even the spot that was on his jacket when it like hit the color hit his jacket, like that paintish stuff. It looked all right, but like I said, there were just parts of the movie that just felt gray. And even the dragon at the end just didn't look right. I don't know what it was. It was like fuzzy or far away. It was just something just off with certain animations. Like certain stuff looked great, other stuff didn't. It was just too choppy in this movie for me to like. I don't know if it's the copy I got, which I don't think it was. I got a nice enough TV to see it. So I'm just like, maybe, I don't know, this is what they intended for it to be that level, but I don't know. And it's drawn well. The characters are drawn excellent. It just felt like the color palette didn't work well. I don't know how to explain it. Just the color palette itself didn't work well.
You mentioned it was a little bit choppy. Speaking of choppy, Brooks is doing this whole new thing where his whole new identity is Chopped and Screwed Brooks.
Chopped and Screwed.
So, Brooks, in a chopped and screwed way, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you thought about the style and the structure of this film?
Well, I mean, I like the animation style mostly, and I do kind of like the narrative of how like there's no like overarching villain or anything in this movie. It's just, you know, the villain is like, you know, he's got to overcome his anxiety and, you know, learn to, you know, take risks. But I think the thing that really that drags the movie down a little bit is the fucking Anthro book plot line. Like, and how it kind of like, it seems to clash with his story more than like working beside it. But like I said, like it does have some really good, like I like the animation style is really good. I think it has potential. I think it just needed it needed some tweaking, I think.
Yeah, that's you know, and for such a great year in film like 1994, what an unfortunate year for this movie to come out. You know what I'm saying? If this movie came out in 1974, this is a different conversation, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of in the vein of the Lord of the Rings shit, you know, that they were doing back in those days or whatnot. But like, I kind of dig what you're saying. Jillian, you've already spoken a little bit on this, but any other thoughts about the style and structure of the film?
I mean, it does feel excruciatingly long for it to be an hour. and it just drags so much for me. And you go from story to story, and it still feels like, I don't know, you're not getting either the exciting parts from it, or you're missing something. This movie is missing like a chunk of heart that it needs. I don't know. I didn't feel anything for these people. I didn't feel anything for these characters.
I got 3 pieces of heart. It needs 1 more to have a full heart container.
Yeah, that's it. Heart.
That's a Zelda joke.
Oh, I didn't get that one. I'm sorry. But it is missing something, though. And it would have worked better, as you guys said before, as a series. If you're going to tackle Pagemaster, he should have been trapped in that library in like probably no time has passed, but like in his head, because the LSD is kicking in. He's gone through like 5 or 6 stories, but it's like 5 or 6 episodes of him going through just major books.
Each episode can be him going through a different story.
Going through a different story and going through that. And this would have worked much better as a series.
Because let's be honest, this movie is supposed to be about this kid like learning to like take risks and take chances, but everything he learns in this movie is to run the fuck away from it.
Right. Run.
Like, he doesn't actually confront any of these fucking fears. He just kind of like runs away, gets eaten.
He is set up if he ever has to go up against a dragon and he happens to have a beanstalk nearby, that fucking kid killed it in that situation.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, confronting your fears isn't always like attacking them.
What? Did you
I don't know what that's
Delaney's internet, Brooks? Is that what's going on?
Thanks.
I said confronting your fears doesn't always necessarily mean you have to attack them. Sometimes.
Confronting your fears doesn't always mean you have to confront them, is what you're saying.
You can always run away.
Well,
you gotta be a man.
Like if you see like a bear in the woods, like like, oh, I'm scared of bears, so like maybe I should just punch this bear.
No, you're right. Like maybe like a fear of bears is a good thing, and if you see a bear, run the fuck away. Maybe maybe that is the point. Like, hey, if you see a giant dragon, run away. But if you just if it's just a ladder, that's okay.
You should probably be like, hey, I should probably climb this.
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted a treehouse, man. What fucking kid would have their dad build them a treehouse and be like, meh?
What kind of fucking dad builds a treehouse for a kid that fucking hates heights?
Right.
Right. The dad is building it. Seems to be building it more for himself because he's trying to get the kid to be less, to be less afraid. He's trying to like hey, here's a cool thing. Why don't you go check it out? I think he's trying to do it as a way to like bring him out of his weird anxiety.
The beanstalk is an important piece, right? Because if he doesn't ride the beanstalk out of the dragon's mouth, he wouldn't get the courage to climb up the mountain and up the ladder. So it's there. You gotta mine for it.
Yeah. Okay, I can dig that.
I work in my cartoon movie.
Another thing I actually do like in this film is the music. James Horner is the composer of the film. We know him, of course, from Aliens, Apollo 13, Field of Dreams, Braveheart, Titanic, Avatar, House of Sand and Fog, which is a great movie. He's got a lot of fantastic work in his career, including American Tail and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, right? And I like the music. It's got that like 90s whimsical family movie kind of flair to it. And other movies that do that, I'm like, oh, it sounds too 90s. It's too whimsical. It's this, it's that. But this movie needs to have this music in it. And I actually do really like the music in this film. So what do you think about the music, Manny?
I thought the music works really well. I think that even just the background filler shit before it gets to the library works. It is weird that we get that weird mid-90s music video song in the middle of it. Fern Gully does the same shit, and I don't take any points off from them, so I can't do that here. So that is cool. I mean, the music I think works. I think the song, Imagine, it works. It's like fucking if you go to the Dollar Tree and you really want like If You Believe from Prince of Egypt, but they don't have it, but they fucking have this song. Like that's where you would find it. But and it works. Awesome. It works.
This is like one of those movies where they're like it's like that meme where the kid's like, hey, can we go see Lion King tonight? Or like, we got Lion King at home. and it's Pagemaster. What about you, Brooks? Man, what do you think about the music in the film?
It's pretty standard. Like it's what you'd expect from like a 90s animated whimsical adventure movie. And I mean, it's all right, basically. Like I'd say it's like I didn't really notice it throughout most of the movie because it was so standard. The music that you would hear in like any like Disney movie or Don Bluth movie or anything like that. So not bad, but not exactly memorable either.
All right. Speaking of not bad, but not exactly memorable, Jelani, what do you? Jelani, what do you? It's just the way the cookie crumbles. What did you tell us? What you think
Speaking
about
of the cookie crumbles?
It's great to see you too, Austin. Man, I feel great, man. It was a great weekend. I'm actually on post-con blues right now, where like life is not near as exciting as it was in Charlotte, but we try. I'm sad now. What were you, Jelani? What do you think about the music?
There are no cats in America. It's some generic music, man. I mean, I like James Horner too, but to me, and I'm not Manny, dog. Man, it's some forgettable ass music. Other than that music video in the middle of it, which like completely throws you off, because I'm like, you should have been doing this the whole movie. But like, I like pages. Do you like mastering? I don't know. It should have been putting music throughout the movie. And like the score.
You just said, I like pages. Do you like mastering? That should be the tagline on the special edition 30th anniversary Blu-ray next year.
But it's just, it should have had like, if you're gonna throw Imagine up in there in the middle of it, why the hell you ain't put like other songs in there? Like we watched Across the Spider-Verse and they put music in there and it all fit. It all fits. It's all gorgeous and it makes sense. And it's all in a cartoony movie. And you're like, yeah. And it gets you pumped for the next thing that's going to happen. And this does, just throw Imagine in there. Imagine the world is a bunch of books and you can read on. Don't you like reading? I do. That's all I heard. And I was just like, damn it. Why you put this in the middle of this damn movie? And it just felt off. It felt like it didn't need to be there. And then the score was generic to me. I don't really remember much from it. It wasn't like an adventure, and it wasn't fantasy like whimsical. It didn't, I don't know. It was just there. And the only thing that I can just remember the Imagine song. That's all I remember now, because it was just like, it was there. And then all of a sudden it ended. And then I forgot what happened next, because I was just like, why the hell? I spent the last half of the movie trying to figure out why the hell Imagine was in the middle of the movie. That's all it was.
Well, you gotta be at least 70 minutes long, I think, to be considered a feature-length film, right? Mm-hmm. And I think what happened was they were like, fuck, we haven't hit 70 minutes. And they're like, slow up the credit roll at the end. That's what Charles Band does, right? Slow up the credit roll. Bro, we're still like 4 minutes short. And then they're like, put in a fucking song.
Put a song in the middle.
Just imagine.
I love it because you're imagining books.
I like pages. Do you like mastering?
Yeah, I like mastering pages. It just felt off. It felt like it threw the like tone. Not the tone. It was all over the place, man. The fact that it was there, I was like, why the hell is this here?
They did that a lot, though. That's a Hanna-Barbera thing. Watch the Jetsons movie. Watch any of those movies from the 90s. Hanna-Barbera. Sure they put those fucking music video songs right in right at the beginning of the third act.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't care. It's just the whole movie was just like, why the hell? And then they throw that song in there. I'm like, also, why the hell?
All right. Speaking of why the hell was this movie made? Well, because it had something to say, right? And it's got a very obvious message. Pizza Hut. We were all kids in the 90s eating Pizza Hut, reading books, getting fucking.
That's the best part of this movie.
Hell yeah. I wanted to have some Pizza Hut after this movie. Actually, I was like, man,
Pizza Hut after this movie.
Oh, nice. See, you completed the whole experience. Yeah. What's this movie's theme? What's it speaking to you, Manny?
Well, I think that at the end of the day, this is just a Wizard of Oz type film. The reason why the clips of the books are so short is because Richard Tyler is 10. And he slipped and fell at the library. And that's what he knows of the book. There's a big white whale. There's a bunch of pirates going to a treasure. None of the important thematic things about any of those books are ever touched on or shown. It's just from the perspective of a child. And watching this with a 2 and a 7-year-old and seeing their eyes light up and watching them watch that is why this film exists. That's what it's getting at. It's showing us that children, as an adult watching it, I try to mold my kids into what I want them to be. Just like Richard Tyler's dad is building him a treehouse, even though he's scared of heights, is trying to get him into Little League, even though he's so scared of being hit by balls and getting tumors. Like, I try to mold I don't know how much of my son loves Power Rangers because he likes Power Rangers, or because I physically hold him down, pins in his eyes like Clockwork Orange to watch Power Rangers. This kid's carving out his own identity. He's finding out how to be a hero in his own way. And he's doing it with childlike wonder, something that Mr. Dewey in the library never lost. How crazy is it in 2023? The idea that I can go to my public library in my town and 90% of it is like charging stations and toys and fidgets and a tiny little book section. Books were important then and they're important now, and this is trying to hold on to that and teaching us something about childlike wonder and how we can all take, even if it's just a little snippet of Jekyll and Hyde, just a snippet of obsessive Captain Ahab, even a snippet of the fucking glowing plasma balls from Spencer's that passed for fairies in this film, even if it's just a snippet of it, that we can fucking grow into better people for it.
Okay. I watched this movie with a 14-year-old and my cat was not impressed. Brooks, what's this movie speaking to you, man? What's its theme?
I think the most obvious theme is about overcoming fear, and not just that, but how to convince a child to overcome their fear. Because these days, it's the same for people who are just dead set on making everybody afraid of something, of making people anxious about everything. And overcoming that is kind of hard because you have to realize, that it's not that dangerous, and with a kid, you can't force a kid to not be afraid, which is why the dad is, I think, so frustrated in his movie. He's like, I want my kid to be, not so afraid, but how do I do that? And the only way to do it is you have to make them want to not be afraid. And I think the movie is summed up pretty much in the end where he talks to the Pagemaster. He's telling him all this crazy shit happened to me, and he looks at him and is like, and yet here you stand. And that's you overcome your fear just by enduring, by moving moving past it, by keeping on, And
yeah, man, you just gotta keep on trucking.
When you're a kid, that's harder to understand, I think. But once you do get it, it's like when I was a kid, I didn't like getting shot.
I either understand.
It's it ain't, you get a little prick and they give you a sucker, maybe a balloon or some shit, and you get over it.
As an adult, that phrase means something completely different.
Especially given Christopher Lloyd's performance in this film. Yes. Giving him a little prick.
Dude, he's a couple little bit here.
All right, T-Pain. All right, what about you, Jelani? What do you think?
I think the greatest fear he had to overcome was fucking Christopher Lloyd coming at him.
Yeah. Shit. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about the theme?
Do you like adventure? Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're coming at me, Christopher Lloyd. Calm down. Yeah, Brooke stole what I was gonna say. Yeah, overcoming your fears, learning how to be, I guess, brave, to get your life to get your shit together at a young age, or you're never gonna have friends. Uh, Actually, this movie actually teaches you how to be an introvert, because technically I think that kid in the future, well, all he's going to do now, he's like, I've overcome my fear of heights. I'm going to go back in the treehouse and read books until I'm dead, because that's what it looks like it's going to be. But yes, read books, because stupid people don't read books and stupid shit happens. um make sure you gain knowledge, but at the same time use that knowledge to move forward into your life. I think that's the main theme of this. They want more kids to pick up books as opposed to watching television and playing video games. But it is good to go outside. So go outside, kids. Read a couple books, but get your ass outside. Learn both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things. This is a kid's movie. It's not made for me. It wasn't made for me in '94. It's not made for me now. But at the same time, it does have that message of get out there and realize that there are pieces, like you said, Manny, there are pieces in these books that aren't really highlighted, but it gives you an idea of what to do as far as getting out there and reading those books and understanding that. It's hard. I read Treasure Island. I read Moby Dick. They're great books when you're a kid when you read them. But when kids see a snippet of that, like, hey, maybe I do want to do this, maybe. But I don't think that movie was trying. It tried to do that. Like I said, it's missing something. There's something that's missing from this that would bridge that gap, so people would understand that portion. And Macaulay Culkin should have been the damn draw. But yeah, the main theme, yeah, overcoming your fears, just getting over shit and fighting it and going forward. And it's all about moving forward, getting to the exit, which actually it's not. What is it? It's not the destination. It's the journey kind of situation. And that's what this is. It just doesn't do it very well, but I get it. To me, that's what I got. And you muted yourself. You were so muted.
All right, so y'all are right. And thank you for that, Jillian. None of these other fuckers were like, yo, Robbie, you're muted, by the way. Anyway, Brooks is just now catching it because he's on a so it's got the obvious messages that it's trying to say, which is overcoming fear and anxiety, cultivating strength and courage within. Excuse me. Also, the importance of reading, which is a very important thing. Like all of us here, we love reading. It's something that we like to do. But we like doing other things too. And this movie doesn't I think it's got kind of this conflicting message because, yeah, we need to cultivate strength and fear. And yeah, Brooks, you're right. Confronting fears doesn't always mean attacking them. But every instance in this movie, he succeeds by running the fuck away or getting help from someone else. Now, maybe that's part of it too. We have to be willing to accept help from other people. When someone says, get up on this ladder, I got you, we listen. Otherwise, we almost killed our fucking dad in the first 5 minutes of this fucking movie. You know what I'm saying? And so there's that. But it's about, I think the message is conflicted because it's not about living life. It's about escaping life. Right? Or maybe it's more about I guess understanding life through the adventures and the joy of reading and all this kind of shit. That would make more sense to me if I didn't feel like Macaulay Culkin's character in this movie read too much already. Obviously he does. He's reading Reader's Digest every fucking day. He knows all these fucking statistics. He knows all this pointless information, right? If the character was a jock or something like that, maybe that message would resonate a little bit. Because I don't feel like Macaulay Culkin learned as a kid in this movie to experience life and overcoming your fears through action and living, but through escaping. And in fact, the whole point, the whole goal is get to the exit, get the fuck out of here. Maybe the whole point should have been, no, stories are great. Let's make our own story of our life. right? And I just feel like they missed the mark just a little bit by trying to be a little too cookie cutter, a little too simple. And I just don't think that they lived up to the potential of what this movie was supposed to be, including the theme. But to me, the theme should be the importance of reading, the importance of story, and how we don't want the end of the story to come. When you read a good book and you get to the end, don't you kind of get sad a little bit? You're like, oh, damn, I'm out of that world now, right? It seemed like every bit of this was escape, escape, escape. And that's not the way we want to live life. We want to engage fully in the stories of our lives. You know what I'm saying? The scary parts, the adventurous parts, the fantastical parts. We want to be engaged in that. We don't want to run away and just try to get through. I know people that just put their head down every day. They just try to get through the workday, to get home, to chill out, to go to sleep, to do it all fucking again. That ain't a way to live. Engage fully in your story. And I think it's a missed opportunity in this film to really nail that point home. But I don't know. It is what it is. All right, time to rate the film. Out of 5 possible you digs, you out there in the chat, if you watched The Pagemaster, the brilliant cinematic classic of 1994, let us know what you give it out of 5 you digs. Manny, why don't you kick us off?
Boom. I'm gonna go. You know what? After talking about it, I think I'm gonna up it to 3.5 you digs. 3.5 you digs. Let me tell you why.
I'll tell you why. Because you knew nobody was going to give this shit over 3.
3.5 you digs. That's true. But also, yes, Macaulay Culkin is a huge fan of statistics in this film. Richard Tyler quotes them ad nauseum at the beginning of the film. But he doesn't go to the library and go to the reference section. He goes to the library and goes to the fiction section. There's something about stepping out of the realism that he lives in that's crippling him with fear and getting him into a place of imagination. Yes, he requires the help of all of his anthropomorphic book friends the entire film. He can't help horror. Fantasy has to help horror. He can't help adventure in himself. Horror has to do that. It's when he embraces the ideas that he can learn from fiction. If he would get his head out of the statistical nonsense and get into these stories, these tales, these heroes' journeys that will make him a hero, when he does that, that's when after horror saves him from the pirates, he takes on Long John Silver. After adventure is willing to sacrifice himself, that's when he takes on the dragon. He learns from fiction. And I think that's an important message that I think we miss watching this film.
Yeah.
So
that's a good one. That's a big part of us here. You know, like why do we like the fiction and the stories that we consume? And how can we apply that into our lives to affect change for a positive way, right? And this movie just didn't do it for me. But 3.5 for Manny, I think that's it's higher than I gave Surf Ninjas, so that's kind of fucking me up mentally right now. I'm kind of in this dissonant fucking place. So I'm just gonna let Brooks go. Brooks, out of 5 you digs, what do you give The Pagemaster? By the way, this movie's not even about the fucking Pagemaster.
No, it's not. That's the other thing I was gonna say. What the hell?
Again, this is just a retread of Wizard of Oz, and the Wizard of Oz is not the fucking focus of that film. They have to keep looking at the exit because she's constantly trying to get home. There was zero fucks given in writing this film. They just watched the Wizard of Oz and were like, it's fucking books. Instead of a scarecrow, a cowardly lion, and a tin man,
it's not long enough. Put in a song.
Yeah.
What about you, Brooks?
Imagine books. Oh.
I didn't get it. Right. It falls about in the middle for me. Like I think it has, like I said, I think it has potential to have been better, but I think it could have been some time to it, like fleshed it out a little bit. Maybe like not made it like, instead of like a movie, make it like a series or something, you know, like, because you know you'd have the kid's journey being short. I actually did kind of enjoy watching this movie. Like I didn't hate it. So yeah, I think it's pretty average for me.
So what did you give it? Because I think I missed that.
3.
Okay, a 3.
Oh.
I just love how Jelani's so excited that somebody else's internet.
It's not me. It's not me. I'm so happy.
Brooks, we love you, man.
Yeah.
All right, a 3.5 from Manny and a 3 from Brooks. What about you, Jelani? What do you give this film? This classic, this milestone in animation history?
It's so generic. It's generic. It's a feeble attempt at trying to get kids to read. And apparently nobody read it because it was like $13 million at the box office with $35 million budget. That's a flop. That's a flippity flop. A flip-floppity flop. Manny.
That's a flash flop right there, buddy.
That's a flash flop. That's a oh. I get this a 2 for deuces. Because I ain't gonna watch it no more. It's one of those movies, like I said, it's very basic. It's so like bottom level. Like you had a good like premise. Hey, kid goes in the library, finds a bunch of books. Books do stuff. Kid overcomes his fears after reading some books. You know, that's fine, but it's executed poorly. And it's so dang. And I remember not remembering this movie later. I would think I was talking to my cousins or something during this movie. I think somebody was even saying shh, and I even said shut up. I was a mean little kid. So I remember little pieces of the time I watched this film. And I don't remember much after we went to Pizza Hut and we ate Pizza Hut. And I was like, ooh, book it. And they were like, you too old for book it. And I was like, I like book it. I didn't say all that part. But it's a 2. It's forgettable as fuck.
All right.
I will not watch this again. It's not made for me. It's for children. You put it in VHS and you watch it for kids. And kids will be like, wah! And that's it. It ain't for me.
I agree. The thing is, this movie should be made for me, right? Like it's about the power of reading and about overcoming fear and developing courage and cultivating strength within. And it's got Macaulay Culkin in it. It's got Patrick Stewart, Whoopi Goldberg, Frank Welker, Leonard Nimoy, like fuck,
Phil Hartman.
Man. Phil Hartman's
in it.
Yep.
Who's Phil Hartman?
He's one of the pirates.
Yeah.
Ah, there you go. R.I.P. Phil Hartman. It does fall flat for me. It's a lot of missed opportunities. But I will say, I like the music. I like the animation. I like some of the voice acting. So I'm going to give this one a very courteous 2.5 you digs. That's what I'm going to do. 2.5. And it doesn't overstay its welcome. Well, it does a little bit, but at least it's not too long out of your day. I don't know, man. All right. So out there in the chat, Cryo gives it 2.5. This movie is better remembered through nostalgia lenses than it is after a rewatch. Introspect M says 3 you digs. It's very basic, but has some decent animation. I can see little kids liking it, but limited appeal for more mature audiences. And Two Gun Pedro gives it a 2.5. So 2.5 Gun Pedro is what's going on there. So a 2.5 from me, a 2 from Jelani, a 3 from Brooks, and a 3.5 from Manny for a PCP average. 2.7. 69, dude. Station. Love how that always works out. So the Pagemaster, that's it. And that thus concludes our review of the Pagemaster, Manny's pick, which has been the lowest reviewed pick for Crew's Choice in 2023. I get what you were trying to do, Manny. I really do. And I appreciate it. I mean, in fact, when you told me it was between this and another one, I was like, fuck it, dude, the Pagemaster. That's brilliant. It's a 90s movie no one remembers. And that's kind of like where we are bread and butter. 80s and 90s movies that nobody remembers, no one's covered. But there's a reason sometimes. Cobra kicks this movie's ass. Cyborg kicks this movie's ass. Surf Ninjas kicks this movie's ass. So I don't know, man. It just didn't really work for me. But it was a fun revisit, and it was still a fun conversation. Last week, we did an animated film, Silent Voice. This week, we did a mostly animated film. This is an interesting animation special that we got going on, because next week, for the final week of Crew's Choice, we've given Jolly Joe Corallo, who loves the death of Miss Marvel so much, right, Manny? We gave him his first ever pick for Crew's Choice, and he picked exactly what we would think. A pretentious ass foreign film that nobody's ever heard of. It's Gandahar, which is a French film. Now, this is the guy who did Forbidden or Fantastic Planet. I have seen that movie. Fucking weird, cool animation stuff. So very excited to check out Gandahar for next week and the big finale of Crew's Choice, which then sets up Action Fest. And this upcoming Sunday night, I will be revealing the 5 weeks of Action Fest in full on Rockin' Robbie Live right after I discuss all of the awesomeness that was Heroes Con this weekend. So Rockin' Robbie Live on Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. We're going to recap my Heroes Con experience and then reveal the Action Fest 2023 lineup. And y'all don't even know how big Horror Fest is going to be yet. Let's just say maybe we got 3 different channels involved in Horror Fest this year, which means even more fucking movies are going to be covered, and it's going to be some great stuff. Evil Face Bad says, I gave it a 5. Nostalgia rapes my tenderness. Okay. They should put that on the back of the Blu-ray that they did, the 4K for next year, the 30th anniversary. All right, so next week, join us for Jolly Joe Corralo's pick for Gandahar, the finale of Crew's Choice. But join me and the crew over at DHS. I will be appearing this week on Dylan's Horror Show to talk about Martin. No, not the Martin Lawrence series, though that would be fun. But the George Romero Forgotten Classic that just finally got released on Blu-ray for the first time. Very excited to talk about Martin on Dylan's Horror Show this week. So Gandahar next Monday, but this Saturday, check out Martin on Dylan's Horror Show. And on Sunday, be sure to check out my Heroes Con wrap-up video and the Action Fest reveal. It's going to be a fantastic time for Action Fest. All right, Manny, thank you so much for being here, man. Sorry for shitting on your movie, but that's how we do it. That's the risk we take when we get involved in Crew's Choice. I will tell you this. I like Dr. Sleep better. If that makes you feel better, I don't know. But anyway, thank you for being here, Manny. Final thoughts, brother.
This has been a blast. Anytime I can take one of my childhood absolute favorites and bring them here to be completely shit on. No, actually, I enjoyed talking about this movie. I like the rewatch. It gave me a reason to go back and watch yet another 1994 classic by Macaulay Culkin, like Getting Even with Dad or Richie Rich. So that being said,
Richie fucking Rich, man, or the good. We need to get to the good son.
The good son.
When is Culkin Fest? All right, that's what we need.
We got to see how this video does first, man. If you want Culkin Fest, y'all watch this video a lot.
Oh shit. Oh, but yeah, if you watch this for 2 hours, or 1 hour, 1 hour and 4 minutes, almost the length of this film, you've seen way too much of me. So go check out Verno on Blood Splatter Chatter. He's got an awesome show that I've absolutely loved catching on the Rewind. And they're talking a Quiet Place on Thursday, which I think is going to be freaking phenomenal.
With Nick, right? With Nick, yeah.
Yeah, with Nick. I didn't know that, but yes, Nick is on that one, and I'm excited for it.
I could be wrong, but if it is Nick, he is the Matthew McConaughey of the PCP Army Bad Batch.
That he is. He is the Matthew McConaughey at the same discount code as this Imagine song is to When You Believe. So definitely go and check that out. And if you're not an IG person, you're missing out on the best damn pop culture talk show every Saturday over on IG if you're not watching #BlameFable. So I just want to remind people, you can watch that here on YouTube. So go and check out, it's at Fable_1 collection down, and subscribe and catch those awesome conversations over on #BlameFable right here on YouTube. Catch those rewinds.
Hell yeah. All right, Manny, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your pick. And don't worry, man. This wasn't near as bad as they tore apart Funhouse when I picked that for Horror Fest one year. It fucking broke my heart so much. I had to get Dylan to come in the last 10 minutes and fucking have somebody to mention that they liked the fucking movie. So that was great. Brooks, thank you so much for being here. Final thoughts, my man.
Well, as some of you might know, me and the guy to do the Go Figure Reviews thing, and I would and Mojo coming up, so you might want to check that out if you're so inclined.
Hell yeah, Go Figure Reviews got some good stuff. Just dropped a Blade video that's pretty dope. Jelani is the other half of Go Figure Reviews and a longtime member of the PCP crew. Excitable we are. Jelani, thank you for being here. Final thoughts.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Manny, such an interesting pick. We'll just leave it at that.
It could have been Blank Man, so count your blessings.
Hey, I watched Blank Man.
In retrospect, I think we should have done Blank Man.
Blank Man.
Originally, I had Blank Man and Goofy Movie was the two that I was gonna throw out, and I typed Pagemaster because I was like, that's more on brand. I think that, but Goofy Movie would have been great too. I should have.
I think Blank Man's more on brand. But
it was on brand, though. But
you like Pages? You like Master?
You like Master and Pages. Manny is our third man for Go Figure Reviews. He does our thumbnails and all our artwork, and it does a beautiful job. I thank you every time I see you. You're amazing, dog. You're probably the best part about our videos, other than me and Brooks, like, looking at videos and stuff. But yeah, Brooks and I do Go Figure Reviews. We're the front thing. Robbie does stuff with us too. We are doing Mojo for our next video. Finally got a Mojo to put together and see what he looks like. He's one of my faves. I wish I'd gotten the set with Long Shot and the X-Baby and Dazzler, but we got Dazzler and we got Long Shot and we got Spiral, so we're gonna probably stick them all in the same video with this and show you some stuff with that. We also have Wondar, the Motu Origins figure that'll be coming out, and I've got to find some Wonder Bread so we can have a comparison and see what it looks like. I don't even know if
go to Waffle House. They got Wonder
Bread.
Bread.
Wow, they'll charge me like $18 for a loaf of bread. Like a loaf of bread,
but only 50 cents if you add them to your hash browns. Just tell them you need the Wonder Bread.
Man.
I want them scattered, smothered, covered, and crumbed. They just get Roger Crumb to they put a Roger Crumb drawing in there.
Yeah. Yes, but yeah. Watch our videos, man. We got 217 subscribers. I want more. I want more. I'm kidding. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for watching, and thanks for having me for this movie.
All right. Thank you all for joining us tonight for the Pagemaster, Manny's pick, the penultimate episode of Crew's Choice for 2023. But join us for the finale next week when we have Jolly Joe Corallo here to talk about his pick, Gandahar, which is a very pretentious French animated film that nobody's fucking seen. What is up with Joe? Like what the fuck, man? Like, pick some fucking, I don't know, man. I guess this is the kind of movie, we want people to pick the movie they want to pick. And we may be here next week and be like, this movie is fucking brilliant and it's great. Or we could be here and be like, Joe, what the fuck, dude?
It's a fucking bit, because when you talk to Joe watches the same type of trash we do, and he reads the same modern shitty comics that we're going through too, and he's definitely into that shit.
I just can't wait till he shows up and goes, I saw this movie in a theater in New York with some friends, and yeah. But also join me for Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday. It's going to be a great show. Martin. You need to watch Martin. It is a very underappreciated Romero film, George A. Romero. Where is it streaming? Is it streaming anywhere? Let's see. It's on Tubi for free, so that's cool. That's awesome. The Blu-ray 4K set came out, sold out, started going expensive, so I was able to snatch one up, a foreign copy of it, and get it in time. And Martin is a movie I am so damned excited to talk about Martin. It's like all of DHSs have led to this. In fact, I think I may be done with DHS after Saturday. I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. But I'm just so fucking pumped to talk about George A. Romero's Martin. Everybody knows Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, even Day of the Dead. Even some people know Night Riders and The Dark Half and Monkey Shines. Nobody talks about Martin. So I'm really, really pumped to have this conversation with my homies on the DHS crew, because I've missed them so much. I missed them so much. I showed up for the Demons review just for a couple minutes and stayed for 2 hours. It was great. So I miss those guys. Very excited to be on stream, and check out Blood Splatter Chatter as well. As Manny said, I just recently did a review of Possessor a Brandon Cronenberg film with him, and it was one of the best movie reviews I've ever been a part of. So y'all definitely need to check that out. I'm Rockin' Robbie. That's Manny. That's Brooks. That's Jelani. You're the PCP Army. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the support. Station, pop, pop, boom. We'll see y'all next time, y'all. Keep it real. Oh, and do you like pages? Do you like mastering?
You like mastering them?
Masterpiece, like that's what the P stands for. Mastering pages.
Oh!